We're going to make a shepherd's pie, but instead of putting mashed potato on the top, we're going to use yams because it just so happens that at this point in time, yams are uh, very well priced and just offer a little bit of different nutrition than a potato does, different flavor. So we're going to roast them on this cookie sheet, cut them all in half lengthwise, and I've oiled the sheet and I place them with the cut side down. I'll roast them at 350 to 375 until the skin peels off easily. See how I've arranged them? This cooking time will coincide with the cooking time of our meat sauce, if you will, for the shepherd's pie, the sort of stew element to the dish. This is a celery root or celeriac, depending on what name your grocery store likes to use. I'm just cutting the skin away, and I'm taking quite a bit. I'm taking about half of a centimeter, so maybe a third of an inch, because I'm going to really wash those pieces of skin very, very well and use them in a chicken stock or veal stock. Celery stock is very expensive this time of year, so I'm going to use the root for my stock. I sort of get two things out of this, if you will, and I save myself some money. Oops. So I'm making about a centimeter wide cut. In the end, we'll have centimeter cubes of celery root. These are parsnips. This is for a different dish. I'm roasting them off in that cast iron frying pan and then just serving them on the side. Cutting them all uniformly. I want them to cook at the same rate. The pan's slightly oiled and I season them with a tiny bit of sea salt. Roast them in the oven with my yams. Take advantage of an oven if you're using it and cook a lot of different things in it, so you're not wasting the space, wasting the energy, wasting your money. Just peeled some onions and I cut them the same size as I cut my celery root, about 1 centimeter cube. If you don't know how to cut an onion, check out my other video on how to chop onions. This is garlic, chopping garlic. I just peeled it. I also have a video on peeling garlic. So if you don't know how to do it, check it out on this YouTube channel, Thrift Culture Now. See how I'm just motoring through these garlic cloves. Notice how I use the knife to pick up all of the pieces. My board remains very clean. This is how I work 100% of the time, and I'm able to do things very quickly. Oh, here's our onions. You get to see it after all. Notice how I line the other ones up in a row. This is for productivity. I want to do this very quickly. So I make my cut, turn it, and push it forward. Look how I'm working with the carrots. Same deal. I stack them to one side, cut it, and push it forward. This pot is about an 8-quart or 8-liter stainless steel pot. It's a good quality pot. I have it at a very high temperature. You see it's smoking because I'm going to cook this ground beef. And in a deep pot like that, if I were to put it in at too low a temperature, I wouldn't achieve a nice browning. Basically, all the liquid in the meat would just pour out, and I'd sort of boil the hamburger. I'm sure you've all done that at some point. So I'm going full heat with this, 100% full heat, and then my oil goes in and my meat goes in right after that. I've achieved some browning on the meat, so my carrots, celery root, and onion go in. These are called mirepoix. They're sort of a foundational group of vegetables for flavor building. They're very common in most European stocks, or at least French stocks. So again, I'm barely stirring this. I'm letting it really cook hard. Now it's at about 85% of full temperature. This is after maybe 5-6 minutes. It's evaporating, the water is evaporating from the ingredients very quickly, and things are starting to break down. Our yams are complete. Notice how easily I peel the skin off. I'm not even removing them from the cookie sheet. I don't want to dirty any other pans. It's going to be more work and more water for me to waste. So I peel them off right on the cookie sheet. I throw them straight into the compost bucket. The skins, that is. Here's our mixture. Notice all the liquid that's coming out of it. I haven't added any liquid. That's just come out of the vegetables. So we have the red pepper in there now also. I'm going to add 1 can of tomatoes. I'm not breaking them up outside of the can. I'm pouring them in. I'm using my wooden spoon to break them up. And I will cook it down a little bit further. But I don't want to lose too much volume because that makes the unit or the per unit price go up. If you can imagine, the more concentrated we make that mixture, the more expensive it becomes because we lose volume, we lose water. So eventually I'm going to thicken it with a potato, and you'll see. Here we have our yams, our roasted yams. I put them into a different pot. And I'm not using a potato masher. I have a couple of potatoes that I've added into this. Just some leftover mashed potato. Put it to use. So I've added it in, and I'm not using a potato masher. I don't have a potato masher. I think they're kind of stupid. I think it's much more prudent to purchase a good quality whisk. This one isn't exceptional, but it does the job, and it's a dual purpose tool. More than dual purpose, really, because there's so many more things that you can do with a whisk. So I show pretty much the entire process of mashing this with the whisk, and it's somewhat lengthy, but I want you to get an idea of just how quickly I can do it if I go at it sensibly and just work the whisk all around the pot. And then as it breaks down, I can actually make a whisking motion like you would do to beat eggs. I'm starting to get there. The chunks are all gone. It's turning into one phase, one smooth mixture of potato and yam. If it gets stuck in there, just bend it and pop it out. Clean up the edges. I don't want to lose one morsel. I paid for all of it, and I'm going to consume all of it. We're adding in our potato. This is just your typical box cheese grater, but on the one side there's a fine grate. So use that and grate potato into it. It's an excellent thickener, much better than using flour, much better for you. I think it adds better flavor to a dish like this, sort of increases the heartiness of the dish. And again, we thicken it so we don't lose volume. It's just sensible to make it go a little bit further and save a couple extra bucks. Transfer it into a Pyrex cooking vessel. Maybe you have something that's made out of some other material, but it's about 2 inches deep by 1.5 feet long by 1 foot wide. I'm using the wooden spoon from earlier to apply the roasted yam mixture. The reason I'm using the same spoon and not a piping bag is that I don't want to clean anything extra. Again, saving water, I'm saving money. And I'll smooth them out into one layer. This has been in the oven at 350 for a half an hour.